Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Businesses and Opportunities in Ukraine. This is going to be our last episode in 2023, so I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I do have a really enjoyable topic tonight. Actually, it's a challenging topic that I hope will help you and help get some understanding, some things that we need to deal with on the inside to help us succeed. Anyway, we got the holidays coming up. We've got different moods, different attitudes towards it, especially in Ukraine. Since we're still under war, we're still being attacked, we still have sirens going off, we still have missiles. Lots of challenges ahead of us here in Kyiv as well. So we're going to be talking about all of these things and what we call hurdles. But I do wish everybody a good holiday season. I know it's a time for family, it's a time for friends, it's a time for our loved ones and just getting together, just having a light mood, a celebration. I remember being a child, I think Christmas was our favorite holiday. And American Christmas is a little different than here, but I see everyone taking on the spirit. The city has decorated very nicely. There's decorations all over Kyiv that are just absolutely fantastic and wonderful. I'm looking forward to taking my daughter to Kontraktova and going there and just walking through and looking at all the lights and the decorations and drinking some Lithuanian and maybe get on the ice a little bit and do some ice skating. But it's just, Sophia Square is beautifully decorated with a very tall tree all the way over to St. Michael's Golden Dome Church. So just the malls, lots of malls have decorated. Outside the mall, we've got Gulliver, we've got River Mall, and even Vistakovi Center. So those is wonderful places to go visit in Kyiv. And I don't live in Kharkiv. I remember being in Kharkiv in Christmas, and their decorations were through the roof. I mean, it was amazing, and I'm hoping they're able to do that this year too. They decorated over the streets as you're driving under all the sparkly lights and everything, and I haven't had a chance to be in Lviv during Christmas or Odessa or any of these other places, but Ukraine. It is under war. We still have the burden and the feeling of anxiety. We still have the fear that comes on us that when the sirens go off and having to go down into the metro station for cover, or go down into a basement of a business or your apartment or schools, and our children are constantly having to be interrupted and going down into the basement for protection, during the sirens when the alarms go off. But so there's that anxiety that takes place, and there isn't any rest on that. We know our soldiers are fighting hard. Our soldiers are working to set Ukraine free, and we all believe and we all know that Ukraine is going to be set free very soon here. There's a lot of changes that are taking place in the political sphere, and the climate ahead is just kind of pointing towards that end real soon. So I've got my reasons, I've got my ideas. I pay attention to not the news, but I pay attention to what's being heard on the ground. Also, what's being heard in the higher elements of politicians, and not just that, but also the financial institutions. That's one thing about financial institutions. They're not stupid with money. And they don't put their money in some places it's going to get blown up. And so there's a lot of investment coming into Ukraine right now. There's a lot of beginning of rebuilding in certain cities, especially on the west, and working way over to Kyiv. These are all preparations. These are all signs that we could take a look at that there's going to be some shifts and changes coming up here real soon. So I'd like to take an opportunity and time to talk to you about hurdles. Hurdles can be anything. A hurdle is just something that we have to jump over. It's something that slows us down. It's an obstacle that gets in the way. And in most cases, in all cases, a hurdle is something that can be jumped over, like in a racetrack. In some cases, a barrier is something you have to go around. And we have to be able to determine if it's a hurdle or a barrier. Now, they're going to happen to our lives all the time. Kyiv is facing some major infrastructure hurdles right now. The metro, which has been around, 1960, 1960, 61, 62, 63, somewhere around there. It's my age, It's been around a long time, and the metro has been a real key component to smooth transportation, reliable transportation, and now we're facing some serious issues that could shut major arteries down. Right now, from Dmyivsk all the way to Teremki is closed. And so that whole section of Kiev now has to use ground transportation to get here. Unfortunately, there's a highway or a road that can bring all the way into the city center to Levitska, and people can get on the metro from there and go to the rest of the way. And they've brought on new buses to be able to handle that influx of people. But, it's still not as smooth as the metro. The metro, before COVID, I remember they were handling over 1 million people a day in transportation. And it was getting close to that again here before the invasion. And of course, it got shut down and everything was closed at that point. And then in the summer, everything started picking back up. The metro opened, and we were able to work through that. Well, those are hurdles. I mean, the war. It's a major hurdle. It's very astronomical, actually, in some sense. It changes all of our lives. It changes the people's lives in the east, where they've had to relocate and come to Kiev, go to Lviv, go to Ivano-Frankivsk, go to Odessa. They're going, they're refugees. They have to go to safe places, safe havens inside Ukraine. Many of the people left Ukraine, and that was their hurdle, and they had to take a chance and go be a refugee in another country. Now, Europe is close to Ukraine because we are European here. It's Eastern Europe, but the people mindset is still the same as Europeans. And so going to Europe, which they're used to traveling and vacationing and going there all the time anyway, wasn't that much of a change other than they're homeless. And they needed the assistance that the countries provided, whether it was Germany, Poland, Ireland, France. I mean, many countries took refugees in and helped Ukrainians. So we've lost millions of ladies who had left with their children. So we lost many ladies and children. Some men were able to go out, but it wasn't that many. So most of them had to stay back and fight. And so, each person's hurdle is different. Now, with the transportation issue of the blue line being closed at Dmyivsk, we've got issues on that, and of course a big pileup of people in front of Ocean Plaza trying to wait for the bus to take them the rest of the way. And of course, then they have, the ones that are coming back. And so the foot traffic in Levitska is very, very, very heavy, much heavier than it's ever seen it probably. Well, there's also talk of additional issues. It's talk right now, but I'm sure that the issues are real, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to be able to deal with it. We have another issue potentially looking at Pachina into Kontraktova being closed. If that closes, it really shuts down a major artery of north and south of Kiev to be able to get in and do commerce and business and their regular routines of daily life. The Metro Bridge, that's long overdue of maintenance, and I guess it's also been reported of safety issues. And if we cut the red line there, which covers from Hydra Park all the way to Lisova, getting over to cross the river to right bank, which is Kyiv city center. You cut off the left bank that way. I mean, it hasn't happened yet. It's in writing. They're talking about it. I know they're going to have to come up with some issues, but some things you just can't avoid. These are hurdles that have to be overcome. These are hurdles that will have to be addressed and dealt with. So the bridges in Kiev are extremely important, and important to even build additional bridges because there's just so much population on the left bank, and there's so much population on the east side of Kiev. And to be able to commune and get back and forth to the center and other jobs and their family and many other things, it's going to be devastating. So, but they're not they can be overcome, and it's a hurdle. So those are some types of the hurdles that we're looking to face here in Kiev. Very huge, very astronomical type hurdles when it comes to public transportation and being able to get around. It's going to choke the arteries of driving. That's going to make it almost impossible. It's going to make a 30-minute trip 3 hours, by car. So it's not going to be easy to deal with at all on that. And I know that it's a big deal that they're dealing with right now in Parliament and in the city government is having to face that. And so I know a lot of heads are spinning and a lot of heads are really trying to figure this out so that they can continue to keep things flowing as smoothly as possible. But that's how you handle hurdles. You don't run for them. You face them. You deal with them. You come up with solutions. You work through it. You take a team. You get a group of people together. You get engineers together. You get scientists together. You get everybody together. You get your financial advisors together. You get everybody involved on this to be able to come up with solutions to have answers so that we can continue to move forward as a society and as citizens of Kiev. Well, so that's a governmental issue there on hurdles, along with the war. There's another governmental issue with hurdles. What about our personal ones? What about the little ones that come up, like getting sick? That's a hurdle. Sometimes you can't avoid staying home. You have to stay home. You've got a high fever. So you certainly don't want to infect your office, the people you're working with, and those around you. So you stay home. What can you possibly do there? Well, me personally, what I do, sleep. I try to kick it as fast as I can, and I know that the most rest I can get and eating well helps me to overcome sickness quicker. And I never got COVID, at least in a way that was detected or tested. I mean, every time I tested it when I traveled, I always tested negative. But prior to COVID, the lockdowns, I was extremely sick, and I was sick for nearly a month. It was quite depressing because your energy's gone. It's left you, and that's a hard hurdle really to overcome because you don't have. It affects your mentality. It's just your physical strength. You're running a fever. You don't feel good. You just want to lay down. You sleep. You wonder how you can sleep so much. But the one thing is, if you really understand the basics of the body, our body and our immune system is like a muscle. It's like muscles, should I say. And when you use those muscles, it fatigues you, like walking all day or running or lifting weights or working on a job, a construction site where you're constantly lifting heavy equipment and tools and supplies. And at the end of the day, you're exhausted because you need to recover. Well, our immune system's the same way. Our immune system's fighting, and it takes away energy from our body. And it makes us feel weak and tired. And so the sleep is extremely important for us to do and to give ourselves to. I know some people say, oh, I don't want to sleep, I need to do this, but then you find yourself extending your sickness longer by doing that, and then coughing and, sticking with you, and the sore throats and the runny nose and all of the stuff that can go with like the basic flu and other bacterial or viruses that are going around. My daughter, unfortunately, she's suffering with the bronchitis right now, and as a little girl and little children, they get sick more frequently than we do as adults, and it's part of them exercising their immune system. They have to go through these things so they can build their immune system up to fight them in the future as they get older. But so if I'm able to put some work aside to listen to my body so that it can recover quicker, I'll do that. And then if I need to get on the computer, if I need to do some things, write some things, and I tell you, when your head's effective, it's hard to write. It takes a lot of energy just to think through the process, through the haze and the cloud that's going on inside of you when you're not feeling good. But that's, again, I just wanted to bring up examples of hurdles. That's one hurdle. Or children getting sick, that's another hurdle when we have to take them to the doctor, or some emergency, or maybe not an emergency, but whatever the event. So every hurdle is small or large, and we have to assess that hurdle and to be able to get through it and work through it, and then continue to go through our daily processes ourselves and continue to work and continue to provide and supply for our household. Investors have different hurdles. We have the market, especially international investors who put some of their money involved in stocks and bonds. Others invest in real estate, and the real estate goes up and down, and it's we have crashes coming up, we have bubbles, we have these expansions, we have great booms going on, and all of a sudden it implodes, and so there's all kinds of challenges in real estate. You have your business. You have, right now is the perfect retail season. The month of December produces, on average, especially in America, 80% of all the revenue for the whole year, based on the Christmas sales. And everybody buying gifts, everybody going out, eating, celebrating, just whatever the event is. In Christmas, we tend to spend more money, and so that and we spend about 80% of what we normally would spend, throughout the year during this time. Like me, I come from a big family, 5 brothers and 4 sisters. So we had to think of economical ways to be able for me to get gifts to all my brothers and sisters when I was a boy. So we'd make things with our hands. And I remember got into tumbling. Tumbling is for collectors of stone and minerals and things, so that we would tumble them and then polish them up and make them really shiny, and then I'd make jewelry out of them and give them to my brothers and sisters. And handmade gifts are really, I think, more valuable than the ones that you just buy at the store. That's like already made, spent the money and delivered. Of course, the children love to buy things, but in essence, the handmade things just seem to have more value. But in a financial market, you have hurdles. For example, those who like to do crypto trading, you're going to have certain things that affect the market, and your coin's going to go down. And then you have to either sell it out or hold on to it and wait for it to go back up. And sometimes you buy and sell at the wrong time. You don't want to. You try to discipline yourself to work those issues out. But there's always somebody making money and somebody losing money in any type of trading. Same thing with stock. You can get into a good company, but when a company goes public, it becomes subject to the shareholders and to those people, buying and selling your stock on the trade. And so we can have hurdles there. In buying real estate, you love this piece of property. It's a great price, and then also you do a little investigating before you sign the dotted line, and you realize, oh my goodness, this has got completely old plumbing in it. It needs to be completely gutted and redone, and it's going to cost you another $20,000-$30,000 on top of what you already thought you were paying for it to get that rectified and fixed. It's a hurdle. We could walk away from it, or if it's still got good value to it, we go ahead and bite the bullet, as we say, and invest and make those changes, because we know that the value of the property is still greater than what you're purchasing it for. So, but again, those are little things that we find out, and they just surprise us. We went to bed perfectly fine. We wake up in the morning with the news, and this is the news that we got, and we have to deal with it, and those are the hurdles. We've talked about andesite blue. We've talked about it a lot over the years. And, the biggest hurdle we had to face on that was the war, because it was just kind of shut down any investments in Ukraine. We couldn't really afford to take our foreign investors who had purchased into the bonds and risk that into property that might not be there. And so at the beginning of the invasion of Kiev and of the whole of Ukraine, money dried up, money stopped. And, it's something we had to wait. That was a hurdle that we are going to overcome. We are going to jump over, and we have begun to do that. We've already started making bond sales now. And we're really excited about that, because we're money's starting to come back into Ukraine, and now these opportunities are here to invest, to rebuild, to get into infrastructure, to get into energy, to get into farm and cattle, livestock, and the agriculture and stuff like that. That those are now the opportunities that are available for investors to look at and to get involved with. Manufacturing plants. We're going to be building a bunch of those now with the reconstruction. There's going to be opportunities in, we call it modulars. Those are prefabricated homes that you actually put together in the manufacturer, ship it out, and then install it at the site. That's going to be really, really big. Manufactured homes, they sound like, we call it Lego sets, but they're not. The construction of them are actually more superior than what you can actually make on site, because there's a quality control process at the manufacturing plant, and you're building them, and there's a consistency. You're using the same screws, you're using the same metals, you're using the same woods, you're using the same things over and over and over, and that quality becomes very, very consistent, and the management of quality control is very good. So those modulars are going to be becoming very popular, but they're very quick to be able to put up and to rebuild, and they look absolutely fantastic. They've come a long ways with prefabbed buildings, prefabbed homes, prefabbed commercial buildings for businesses and things. Look very sexy and look very attractive. So, those are coming up. So that opened the doors up for us to look and to start investing again and selling bonds. So we are now addressing and overcoming that hurdle. It was a long period. I mean, it was just under 2 years that we had to really be patient and be quiet for a while. I kept talking about it here and on business and opportunities in Ukraine. I kept talking on the program and priming, letting the audience know, especially our foreign audience, know about the climate in Ukraine. It's going to be the hotspot for investments. But the other thing that I talked about too is the saloon, the Kyiv Western Saloon. I've dealt with a lot of hurdles on that. Now, part of the hurdles was because I'm not a permanent resident. I'm a what we call a temporary resident. I renew it every year. It allows me to do business, allows me to invest in here. And I understand now that there's two sources to get my permanent residencies, which I'm working on and going to accomplish in the year 2024. I qualify just for the amount of time that I've been a resident here in Kyiv to apply and get my permanent residence, and that was my goal. So I'm able to do that. But in the meantime, there's hurdles being a temporary resident, opening a business, and getting through the processes and following along the guidelines and legislations that they set for me to follow. And one of the things, and I talked about this before, about trust, looking for directors and people, because the director is a very, very high position who has control of the money, the bank strings, the bank account, and you have to be able to know that they have the integrity of business concepts, the understanding, and also to carry your vision to help you with it, because they become an integral part of your whole goal of what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. That wasn't easy. Finding the director was the most challenging. But it was a hurdle, but it didn't bring me down. Yes, it delayed our opening, it delayed my campaign, it delayed the release of my website, which will be coming out. I mean, the website's already built, but I haven't released it until we had that solved, And so I'm looking, my goal, I'm pushing, and my lawyer said that we can do it. He said it's absolutely no problem, we can get this done this year. So I'm very happy about that. But again, when those hurdles came to me, you get all depressed, you get all down about it, you get all excited because you got these dates all lined up, and you're telling people, 3 to 4 months, we'll be able to blah, blah, blah. I've been telling people that for 8 months. And 3 to 4 months just keep going past. And I can't let myself get down because of those facts. I can't let myself get down because that's the obstacles and the hurdles that are in front of me. I just look at it head on and say, okay, it's not going to kill me. I look at the problem, I find the solution, and we work it out. And so I've been very, very emotionally level on this. I haven't allowed myself to just get under it or depressed, because in reality I have to maintain integrity, I have to maintain enthusiasm and inspiration for people to stay on board and for the team to be encouraged, because they're all waiting to go too. The ideas that they keep coming up for me is just amazing. I talked about Dave I'll bring him on the show. With the holiday seasons, wasn't the right time. I wasn't even really thinking about Christmas being around the corner. So January, when we come back on, I'll have Dave here. This guy, he's inspired me because he works in a realm that I'm not good at. Digital marketing. I'm good at in-your-face marketing. I'm good at print marketing. I'm good I can campaign. I can do all kinds of things. But when it comes to the digital realm, I just lost, and I leave it to others to handle that. And with his experience and the experiences of my team that are involved with the TikTok and the Instagram and the YouTube and Facebook and taking advantage of these types of platforms to reach the community and to reach people, they're good at it, and so that's what we have a team for. When I played basketball, I was a forward or center. I was tall. I'm still tall, and a lot of them want me to be center all the time. But sometimes we had some better centers and stuff, and I play forward, and so. But that was my realm. I knew the positions. I knew what a forward and a center's responsibility was. I was big. I was tall. I knew how to box out. I knew how to post up. I knew I could. I was good under the basket. I had the Kareem Abdul hook. On my skill list, and so I was great at that. As a point guard, no, I couldn't be a point guard. I wasn't quick enough. I didn't have quite the skill set and the mentality for that position. And so I relied on his position. A point guard is usually technically the team leader or the captain of the team because he sees the whole field and he knows what needs to be done. And so he makes things happen under the basket, and on the sides. So that's what a company is. A company is not just you doing everything. It's a team effort, and that's how a company succeeds, is that you have a good team, and that will make or break you. Now, I use that word make and break. Hurdles can also make or break you. Hurdles is what causes a lot of people to give up. It's too hard. I can't do it. With that, my mom always said, can't do anything. That used to drive me crazy. When she'd say, I need you to do this, I can't do that. She'd always whip back at me and says, can't do anything. Of course, when Mom said something, you did it anyway. But that was her favorite response to the word can't. And it stuck with me. And it is so true. Can't do anything. And so you have to have a can mentality. And when you literally take that on and it becomes part of your soul, it becomes part of your being and your whole life and your mentality, that is where you begin to succeed. I can do it. I've got a lot of hurdles, coming from Western way of thinking and Western way of doing business and commerce to Ukraine, which is Eastern Europe, and their way of thinking and commerce is different. Now the young generation is getting on board, and you can see a lot of new companies that are becoming very progressive, and I'm very proud of those companies. But in reality, when you are talking about your dreams and visions, the first things that comes out of their mouth is it can't be done. And that's something that has to switch in here, and then once it switches in here, then you have to make your heart believe it too. It needs to be connected, so that you are on an agreement with yourself that can't needs to come out of your vocabulary and replaced with the word can. It can be done. I can do it. That's how you overcome hurdles and obstacles that are in front of you. I listen to them, and I hear it all the time, even men and women in leadership positions, and they're talking to me, oh, that's too aggressive, oh, Ukraine doesn't work that way, oh, it has failed in the past. Yeah, it has failed in the past, but I don't look at the past to set my goals. I don't look at the past of failures to say, well, it can't be done. Because, in the United States, when the United States was birthed, back in the 1500s and 1600s, back when the first settlers came to the United States, it wasn't the United States. They were colonies. They were in America, in the Americas. And so that in Canada and the U.S., there was no line. There was no Canada, there was no U.S. This was before that. But they were all on the East Coast. And once they succeeded and survived that first year, and more people started coming and word got around, it was a new land of opportunity. First thing they had to cross on a sailboat was the Atlantic Ocean and traverse big storms and bad conditions a lot of times. Not everybody survived just getting to the Americas. There was those who died, sicknesses up on board, and over people falling overboard. It was just, there were things that happened. It was a dangerous trip to get over here, but people saw something greater than where they were at, and said, "I have to go for it. This is a land of opportunity. I need to push. I need to get out of the tyranny of my own government." And people were literally abandoning the UK and different parts of Europe to escape this. The French, the Italians, the Germans, UK, Irish. They were all coming over here, and then of course then it just became a regular route to get over here, and it was all by ship. So that was the first hurdle that they had to overcome. They faced death. That was a pretty big hurdle. When they got here, there was no promise that they're going to succeed. There's still death here too. There was starvation, there was freezing, there was all kinds of, because so many people were coming and there was not the facilitations to make it work. You had to literally make your own facility to survive. You had to come willing to work with your hands and to build and to clear land and clear forest. I mean, the East Coast is just dense forest. I heard a story that in the beginning, back in the early 1700s, a squirrel could go from the coast, the Atlantic coast, to Missouri to the Mississippi without touching ground. He could go from tree to tree to tree to tree to tree to that whole distance. That distance, by the way, is probably equivalent to driving from here to Germany. And a squirrel could do it all by tree, without touching the ground. So that's how dense it was. And so there was a lot of clearing that had to be done, a lot of hard work, a lot of hard labor to build America. Well, if they just stopped there, it wouldn't have been the whole United States. It would have never made it to the Pacific coast. And again, they started making these treks and started dreaming again, and started going out west. And majority stayed east. I mean, if you look at the population of the west and the east is definitely more populated. California is the most populated state in the Union, but it doesn't make up the whole Union. So you got California, Oregon, and Washington. Those are not nearly as populated as California. California is densely populated. But if you look at the East Coast, from Florida all the way up to Maine, that is the majority population of the entire United States. So a lot of people still stayed and still made do and stuff, but there was the drive for some to go further, to take it and go west and create another opportunity for themselves. That's what it's all about. That's what entrepreneurship's all about. That's what owning your own business is all about. It's opportunity and making it happen. So if I listen to everybody's negative input, it'll put me down. I'll get depressed. I'll say, "You're right. It can't be done." And that hurdle, well, I just won't even try. I won't even try to jump over it. But that's not the right mentality. My mentality isn't that anyway. I listen to it, I go, I got a different plan. I hear it every time, especially with the crowdfunding. It's not popular in Ukraine. Well, I don't care if it's not popular or not. I have a different program. I have a different approach that I want to be able to reach out to the public and the community to be part of the crowdfunding. I want to be, and it's not a basis of pride, it's a basis of fulfilling my dream. I don't want to be the first one to be successful, because there has been some good successful campaigns, crowdfunding campaigns that have worked, Urban Space 500, and there's another one that I met over the weekend. They raised $5 million, so there is some success in here, but ordinarily a small mom and pop type shop can't use crowdfunding to raise the money to open their store. And I want to be able to change that and have a clear-cut path to show how I did it. I've got a lot of underwater rocks to clear out of the way, so the boats can sail freely and get across easily on that particular path, on that river, should we say? And that so yeah, I can hear it all day long. I can't. You can't. You can't. You can't. It can't be done. I can hear it all day long, and sometimes I do hear it all day long, and I have to make a choice to shut those voices down. So thank you, but that's not my plan. I'll let them think the way they want to think. I really don't care. They're thinking, oh, this guy's a fool. He's stupid. Ukraine will show him. And I've had people tell me that. Oh, Ukraine will show you. You'll see what happens. You're not going to get it done. It's just going to beat you down, and then I'm going to tell you, I told you so. Well, now that deals with pride there, because I'm not going to let you tell me I told you so, because I'm going to get it done. I'm going to face the hurdles. I'm going to walk through it. I'm going to create the team necessary to be able to overcome and make believers in people that Ukraine is the land of opportunity. It's a beautiful land of opportunity. And there are some very intelligent entrepreneurs and businessmen here that I meet with that says Ukraine's a beautiful place of opportunity, and it is. And this is what we've been talking about, for the past couple of years. And, but it's really right here. Hurdles have to do with your mind, and it has to do with your heart. And because you have to be in agreement, and you have to be in alignment. If your head is telling you, yeah, if your head is telling you, no, and your heart is vacillating and has not been able to commit onto one thing or another, guess what? You yourself are going to vacillate, and you're just going to be going up and down, and you're going to be blown, left and right, and tuda suda by every wind and every voice that speaks to you. Now, you have to be committed to your own heart and your mind. They have to be in alignment. And that's how you can face hurdles with a good attitude, with its mood. And a lot of times, just the attitude alone makes the hurdles smaller. The hurdles don't necessarily need to go away, because we're just going to deal with it. And it's going to make us stronger. It's going to make us have more capability. It's going to prove ourselves and our worth. It's going to make valuable the things that we're trying to accomplish. It's going to bring a lot of value to us. If it was just handed to us, children are given toys, for the birthday, for Christmas, for, whatever thing it is, name day, or this or that. And they're just kind of given it to them. Children don't have a great value for their toys that are given to them. That's why they break so easily. And they sit there pound on it, bang, 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 bang. But if that child buys it, all of a sudden, no, I want to take care of it, because all of a sudden they have value to it. Well, that's what hurdles are to you. Hurdles are what builds the value. If you didn't have hurdles in what you're doing, you probably aren't going to really succeed that well. A little chick that's inside the egg, if you open it up, you've made him weak. That chick has to fight himself for life. He has to pluck that shell and break it, and then work his way out of there and come out. And that's a greater rate of survival for that chick than if you were to open every egg up in your farm. You're going to lose well more than 50%, and they're not going to have any ability or strength to be able to survive. So it's the same principle in life. Value comes from struggles. Value comes from hurdles. Value comes from difficulties. And so don't be afraid of them. Just embrace them, look at them in the face, smile, and jump over it or walk through it, whatever you need to do, and get it done. And make the adjustments and continue to take on your own personality and of positivity or inspiration, being inspired by others or inspiring others, encouragements. Work on the things that are good. There's a place in the Bible that talks about, says, whatsoever is good, think upon these things. Whatsoever is lovely, whatsoever is pure, whatsoever good is of a good report, kind-heartedness. It talks about all of the positive things. Think on those things. By doing so, you become like that. if you dwell on the negativity, if you dwell on the problems, oh, the metro's down, oh, it'll just make my life even more miserable. My life is now even harder because I got to take the bus, and I got to wait for the buses. It was so much more convenient with the metro. Well, it sure makes you appreciate the metro when they get it fixed and it's up and working again. You could, be thankful. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you guys did the work necessary because it was unsafe. We certainly don't want, 1,000 deaths because we had a collapse or something went horribly wrong in there. So it needs to be fixed. But, there's reasons that we get challenged with these things, and it makes our character stronger if we allow it to. And if we make that decision every day that we're going to be positive every morning. I have a class, a corporate speaking club, Monday morning. I have them twice in the week, so Monday morning and then on hump day, Wednesday. And Monday morning typically is everybody's bad mood morning, Not everybody has a bad mood on Monday morning, but it's the idea that you came from the weekend, you had your rest, felt good, it was enjoyable, and then now, okay, I got all my tasks, I know I got to do this, I'm going to have a hard day at work, or a long day at work, or a lot of tasks, that I just have to get work through, and that's why they call it work. Work is work. It's not play. We don't show up Monday morning to play. I'm going to play 5 days a week and get paid for it. No, it's work. And so that's why they call it work. But on Monday mornings, you can really control your week by how you deal with coming from rest to going back to work. And look forward to the challenge and being thankful for the job that you have. Being thankful for, that it provides for your life, that it's given you your lifestyle that you have right now. You want to change that? Well, that's what this is for. That's what this program's for, is to help you and to teach you and to give you inspiration to be able to change that and to know that, your ideas are going to work. But I talked about the saloon. So the saloon is not 8 months behind because I had originally planned on opening it in around September, October. So it's a few months behind. But by the time we get finished and opening, it will be about 8 months behind by the time we actually open the doors of the grand opening. And I've had to just face each hurdle and work with it and get that hope up again, because we dealt with it and now we're making steps. And that's how I know that we're going forward, because we are literally making steps forward to that day of grand opening. If I was going backwards, that would be quite a bit more depressing. Then I'd have to look at it and say, maybe it's a cliff I'm climbing and I shouldn't be climbing the cliff. Maybe there's a path over there, because we're not going forward, we're going backwards. And so, that's not a hurdle. That's a cliff. And, we have to handle those differently. But hurdles are the things that slow us down, the objects that get in our way, that we have to either jump over, go around, or go through. And so it's really their mindset and how we handle those hurdles is what's going to determine the end result of your dream, of my dream. I'm not giving up on it. The top people, matter of fact, Donald Trump was asked this question: what do you have to tell people, young entrepreneurs and young businessmen that are coming up in society? He said it emphatically and clearly, and it's even in his book, he wrote about it. He said, don't give up, especially don't quit. That was his biggest message. Do not quit. Don't quit on your dreams. Don't quit on your project. Don't quit on your business. Don't quit. He says, I've seen so many people quit just before they were going to explode. That's also statistically proven too, that 90% of businesses that failed were on, if they were able to find some funding or some way to, because finances can really crush a business, but if they were some way to create a funding or put a package together, whatever, they were literally months away from, boom, an explosion of their own business and that success. Someone else comes in behind them and does it, and boom, it takes off. And then that person who first quit is living life in regret. So don't, you'll never regret trying. You'll only regret when you don't try. I've started a lot of businesses. Some of them done very well. Some of them failed. Some of them were taken from me, some of them, and you learn from those. Some of them, were just flourished. It's just that did fantastic. It's what was able to get me to have a lifestyle that I had for my children, and as they were growing up, and living comfortably, doing well, and not having to worry, about their next meal, or having to worry about school, having to worry about needing things and supplies, whatever. Just growing up, it was a very, very wonderful and comfortable environment. And they didn't know the ups and downs that I went through, but as I'm working on one business, I'm kind of what we call a serial entrepreneur. As I'm working on one business, I have another idea, so I end up working on another one too. I'm not interested in building a huge corporation that, like AT&T or some mega corporation that's going to make little items that the whole world needs. That's not my forte. It's not my cup of tea. To me, I like the ambition and the inspiration that comes from creating and designing, and to come up with new ideas, and launching something and working on that until it succeeds, and then sell it off, and create something else. Or in the midst of that, I'm creating something else. I put the team together so that nothing really relies solely on me to succeed. Yes, in the beginning, I am the catalyst. I am the one who keeps everything together, and I make it happen. But I develop a team that is smarter than I am, stronger than I am, and has far more skill in their realm than I do, so that the company can continue to run without me. And then it frees me up to be inspired to do something else, or even create new content or things for that particular company, so that it continues to flourish in the future. So that's one of my strengths, and that's one of the things that I have a passion and have a desire to do, and that is to create. So even with the saloon, I have great ambitions for it. I have a great vision for it, and I will be with it all the way up, through its success. But I'm not married to it. I'm not going to marry myself to it and then die with it. I'm going to create something that is very comfortable, very warm, very successful, in a way that we have young investors, young people who are ambitious to see the vision on that and take over that and purchase it. And so then I'll move on. I'll and go to the next opportunity, go to the next business. One of the things that I'm doing this in Ukraine, other than I live here and this is my home, but one of the things that I'm doing here in Ukraine is I have a desire and a passion to help usher it into the EU and usher it into the Western style of commerce and the mentality and the thinking. So I do want to also develop a business school that helps and to educate people in this form of communications and business. So that's kind of one of the other passions that I have that I'm looking forward to. So building the saloon, which I have a great passion for, and I will love, this when it takes off and how it serves the people. It's an entertainment. But I'm doing this just kind of as a forerunner and breaking the ground to show principles of business, principles of investments, principles of crowdfunding, and to put it all together, principles of a team operation, so that with these examples, we set the stage for the schools. And now we have hard evidence in Ukraine that this is how it can work. One thing about the American philosophy and business is that we don't take the whole pie. We believe in sharing the pie. The pie is, let's say, the wealth. The pie is the goal, of success and wealth. Well, I'm not interested in having that whole pie. For one thing, if you've ever sat down and had dessert, and you ate too much chocolate pudding or you had too much pumpkin pie, by the time you get halfway through it, you're already sick of it. I mean, you literally, you feel like you're going to vomit. It's just too much sweets, too much of one thing. And so it's no fun anyway. And but I enjoy sharing the pie with all of the talented people that help to make it successful. And so that pie is distributed, and everybody gets a chance to enjoy the wealth, and everybody gets a chance to enjoy in the excitement and the thrill of building something successful. And then, and now I have developed a team not only for the Saloon or Andesite Blue or UWalk is a company that I developed in America. Wilson and Sons, landscape and construction. Just on and on and on. I've got a network of successful people that I trust and that trust me. And so when I come up with another project, many of those people are going to want to get involved in that project because their skill levels is going to be able to match what's needed over here to work and to build that up. And so that networking becomes valuable, over time because that network continues to grow and grow and grow and grow. And so by sharing the pie, you develop trust, you develop loyalty, you develop a community, which we talked about before, and that community gives you the strength and the power to move forward with other ideas and new concepts and new principles and new businesses. So a lot of our hurdles get overcome by having the community, because they help you with the ideas and what to go over and how to overcome it. My lawyers I'm very thankful for them. They're very constructive, and they're very useful with their knowledge of the laws and the things, how to work in here, and they've been very, very gracious and grateful, or not grateful, but gracious to me, which I've been very grateful to. Again, just pick your teams, pick your, build your community. Face your hurdles with a positive attitude. They're going to come. I didn't have hot water today. I didn't have any water today. Well, okay, something needed to be fixed. So I was without water. And I got the cold water and didn't have the hot water. Well, I got the hot water now. But when they turn off the hot water here, when you turn it back on, it's red. It's not clear water. It's just red water. And so you got to wait 2 or 3 days before the water clears up and you can start using it again. Little hurdles, okay? Troszkę. It's not a big deal, okay? I can work around that, It's an inconvenience, but it's just a little, it doesn't ruin my day. I don't want these little things to ruin my day, people's attitudes to ruin my day. We get them all the time, so people's attitudes are hurdles, How are you going to deal with it? Deal with it in here. And once you've dealt with it in here, get it down into your heart and soul. Because then that becomes you. That becomes your life. You can grow day to day. I'm not the same person that I was when I was 20 years old. I'm sure I was a fun guy. I was a nice guy. I was extremely shy. But I was untalented, and I was unskilled, and I was uneducated in forms of business. I had to start from somewhere. But I am a different person today because of you, because of everybody that I have with me, because of the network that I developed, because of my family, my sons and my loved ones and the people that I care about. They keep me positive and they keep me motivated. I surround myself with people that are like-minded. They become my friends, they become my family, they become a part of my soul because I know that they're going to give input to my life and that is helpful and the same that I'm doing for them, to be able to bring them in and to help them and to be a part of their life and to be an encouragement and inspiration to them. And so that's how it all works. And so first thing in the morning, face your hurdles and face it with a change of your mind that it's not negative and that you're going to survive and everything's going to be okay and you can still keep your smile and you can still just press on and go forward and succeed. So, it's a very interesting topic. I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me today. And have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll see you on the other side in 2024. Slava Ukraina!